Welcome to Lights Out. Happy 2021. I'm John Weiss.
And I'm Andy Henderson.
And this year we wanted to kick off the show with just a brief segment to talk a little bit about what Andy and I expect to see in the IoT business this year as it pertains to the industrial segment. So Andy, why don't you kick us off, man? What do you think this year is going to hold for us?
I think what we'll see is a rapid start to the new year. And what I mean by that is I from my conversations that I've had with folks at different companies around the industry, it seems like there's a lot, because of the pandemic, there was a reluctance to get things going last year. And to cap it off, there was a big chunk of the budget that was missing because of the down period. And so I think that a lot of that was just building up, and we're going to see a bunch of people executing on new projects for process improvements right at the beginning of this of the year. So ISM, the Institute for Supply Management, just put out their recent stat saying that the manufacturing sector is growing by the largest amount in the last 2 years, 2.5 years, something like that. And so there's a whole bunch of reasons why I would encourage people to go take a look at the report. But that goes along with my thinking that what we're going to see is that in early 2021, a lot of people are going to be kicking off projects. A lot of that's going to be centered around technology. I think it's going to be a lot around data and analytics, artificial intelligence, because what we've realized is that we need to be looking at these technologies because there's a risk that when something like the pandemic comes along, you're going to have a problem getting people into work for a host of reasons. And so these technologies are going to be important for that. How about you, John? What are you thinking we're going to see in 2021?
I think, for sure, I agree with you. I think a lot of these initiatives and projects are just going to hit the gas and things are going to start happening fast. I think it's going to lead to a lot of confusion, if I can say that, and technical confusion, because I think connected machinery, connected equipment is going to become, ubiquitous, right? It's the new norm. But there are so many different ways to do it, and there are so many different protocols. And a lot of people talk about 5G. We've spoken about 5G over the last year, but there are so many different ways machines communicate: LoRa, Sigfox, NB-IoT, all cellular, you name it, right? Wi-Fi. There's so many ways, and trying to manage a connected factory or a connected fleet of vehicles for a supply chain, or, now that projects are actually gaining traction and actually getting adopted, I think the landscape is going to become incredibly complex for people to manage. So in that respect, I think it's going to be a little bit of a year of confusion as people figure out some of the growing pains of adoption and how to manage all that. I also think that this year will still hold a pretty large focus on worker health and safety. I think it's going to happen in a way that's a little bit different than the last year, because the last year we were so focused on the pandemic, literal worker health, temperature checks and things like that. But I think this year it will look a little bit different. I think throughout 2021, organizations will still put people first and top of mind, but they'll do it in a way that's focused more on ergonomics through computer vision, making sure that people are lifting heavy machinery the right way, trying to prevent injuries in the workplace. I do think social distancing will continue to be a thing, a topic. So I could see that maintaining some momentum, people making sure that folks on an assembly line, on a shop floor, are not, getting too close to one another while they do their tasks and things like that. I think that'll be a pretty big focus as we get through the rest of the year.
We used to do automation, put robots in the process because it was good from a competitive standpoint. Now we put robots in the process because we need to keep people away from, we need to keep people apart so that we don't spread.
That's right.
Viruses and those sorts of things, right? So
yeah, that's right. I mean, we've talked about cobots in the past, right? And this is actually a really good example of that, of keeping people safe and healthy through maybe the use of a cobot or a robot, where instead of having three people, shoulder by shoulder on an assembly line, you now put a robot in between two people with 3 feet of space on each side. So now you've got your 6 feet of social distancing, and the robot's picking things up and moving it around, and now you've got an efficiency increase potentially, and maybe even a quality increase, if we can reduce some human error. But it's all done with keeping people safe in mind. So it'll be interesting, man. We'll see what happens, but we'd love to hear from you too. By the way, what do you guys think is going to happen this year? Drop us a note, leave us a comment, let us know. We'll see you on the next episode. Thanks so much.
Thanks.